And the whole eulogy, I didn't hear anything about Charlie. I forgive him. We had a great marriage. Well, who was he? If it was my brother who died, to be honest, I would be pissed. I really would be. If it was, I just kind of think, because Charlie Kirk, he kind of reminds me of my brother a little bit. And I'm very close with this brother. And if somebody, like, I think if my brother died, even if it was a cause he believed in and they were just milking his death, like, I think it would make me sick to my stomach. I really wonder how the immediate family feels about this. I don't know. So I would have some recommendations of what I would have said to do. Now, this is just my opinion. You can take it or leave it. I would say I would have recommended she leaves the public eye for a minimum of 1 to 2 weeks and up to 3 to 6 months at least. And the reason being, I was looking up how long they ask YouTubers to stay out of the public eye after a scandal. And that's a scandal, right? That's not a death. They say to leave the public eye for a minimum 2 weeks, up to 6 months. But the problem is women are so phone addicted now and so clout and attention addicted. We do not know how to have almost normal human interactions. We are so addicted to our phones that, we're using death for clout at this point. And it's bad. Yeah, I know what they're saying. Christians, they see it differently than you. I think a lot of Christians see it like this. I really do. I think there's a lot of Christians that find it disrespectful to do a funeral in a stadium. In that, it wasn't even actually the stadium, to be honest. I think it was more just the manner they did it in. Like the fireworks going off. There's just a lack of I'll show you guys JFK's funeral and you'll see. All right, now, we listened to Erica Kirk's reaction last show. You know what? Maybe we'll pull up. So, all right, this.
More work than we even could ever. So blessed to have more work than we even could ever dream of. It's beautiful, and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead. So powerful. So blessed to have.
Okay, so yeah. Next, we're gonna. Now, we watched. If you go like 2 or 3 streams ago, we reacted to Erica's whole speech, and I said what I noticed was that she kind of used. It barely talked about Charlie, but I'll hear these women talk about Tupac, and I'll think, how does the rapper criminal that died at a shootout get more respect, a more respectful, more respectful dialogue around his death and remembrance than the Christian conservative family guy? It's like, as women, we can't be mad when these guys start treating us like shit, because we reward terrible behaviors. We really do.
A lot of people, talk about my relationship with Pac and trying to figure that out, and that was a huge loss in my life.
That looks like a sad woman. She's tearing up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is like 20 years later. That's, again, when women marry or, lose men that we perceive to be alpha, it just tends to be a completely different reaction.
Because he was one of those people that I expected to be here. And my upset is more anger.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel that he left me. And I know that's not true. And it's a very selfish way to think about it, but I really did believe that he was going to be here for the long run.
Yeah. Right.
She is crazy, to be fair, but here we got another one.
I remember you telling me a while back that you had a Tupac story that you always wanted to share. And you had 2 interactions with him, right? Tell me about that.
Um, I was in Tupac's company twice. Um, um,
Do you see the like genuine choking up these women? These women weren't even with him. They had no kids with him. But they're all getting choked up talking about him.
and I mean, we were in the same places, but not running in the same circles. So, I mean, I'd be at the same events, be at the same place, but we took a flight together once, and it was weird because I was in first class and he was in coach. And when I sat down and I saw him, I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna talk to Pac all the way to Atlanta." And when he kept walking, I was like, "Who the fuck put Pac in economy?" I could have talked to him. And I didn't.
Now, I hear what you guys are saying. This stuff's performative, okay. Probably to some extent. But these interviews feel more genuine than the speech Erica Kirk gave. All I'm showing is the compare and contrast. There seems to be more emotion there.
Fly first class all the time. I don't want to be that pretentious. But this one particular time, and I thought I had looked up, got first class and Tupac. So the 2 interactions I had with him, he was completely different on both interactions. And the extreme, like the first time I met him, I didn't know what was happening to me. I was so charmed. I was entranced. I was enspelled. I was, and if he had had a wife and we was in the right moment, I'd have been like, "Well, we grown. I hope your wife feels like me and it's not a deal breaker." I'm not having sex with married men intentionally, but
She's like wishing she banged him 50 years later. I want you guys to see this because when women are very in love with men, I mean, this is kind of how we got another one.
On Poetic Justice. Some insight on what it was like, working with Tupac on Poetic Justice.
Pac was crazy, and I adored him. He was one way, I think, the way people saw him, and not to say.
So, again, the stories focus on who he was as a person, not what he did, but who he was.
That wasn't him, but he was also had another side to him where he was fun and silly. I think he's really special, or he was very special, incredibly talented. And he's just so much talent and so brilliant here.
Do you see all of the attention in that story was on him? Not me, him. And when you compare and contrast, I mean, it's just, here we go. I just don't get any emotion from this.
My husband, Charlie, he wanted to save young men, just like the one who took his life. That young man, on the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man,
I forgive him.
Like, if I'm being honest here, I just don't. There's no tears. I mean, I'm looking. And the whole eulogy, I didn't hear anything about Charlie. I forgive him. We had a great marriage. Well, who was he? Who did the cameras not see? You know, not what did he do for you? I hate being an asshole. Maybe I kind of like it. I do this job, but you know, I'm just being honest when I think this is kind of weird. So again, the people that don't understand the criticism of this, they don't really understand female nature, which is that women want attention. We don't always love the men we marry, and oftentimes it's very transactional. And you know, female nature envies men, so her going into a male role indicates that maybe she was jealous of him on some level. And we really seize every opportunity to take power and use it to get as much attention as possible. So what would be the best practice? Oh, wait, hold on. Everybody is cashing in on this tragedy. Women are going to use it to signal virtue. Do not criticize her. You don't know what grieving is. It's going to be their go-tos. Now, the best practices, I would recommend really what Jackie Kennedy did. Now, we're going to watch her funeral. This just seemed a lot more respectful if we watched JFK's assassination funeral. What do you think my odds of getting copyrighted on this music are? Low? All right.
At last, in Washington, a nobler drama takes command. Led by the slim, dark figure of Jacqueline Kennedy, there now begin those measured steps by which the nation bears its fallen presidents into history.
Do you see this is, I would have recommended a non-attention seeking attire. You know, I mean, I don't even remember what Erica was wearing because her makeup was so heavy. You know, it was like caked on. That's all I saw. This is not attention seeking at all. It's like a black, if anything, there's a veil over her face. Pearl, but she had writers writing her speech. Okay, but that was still her choice to do it, right? I mean, at some point, it can't be the writer's fault. I mean, if she chose to go with writers, she still read it. Do you see the difference? This is just such a different sentiment.
On Pennsylvania Avenue, the drums go by, 100 beats a minute. Behind them, the caisson goes to the Capitol, where John Kennedy received power 3 years ago. Wait for traditional military honors to be accorded the dead president before he is taken into the rotunda to lie in state.
So I would just say overall, I think the audio, I don't know, it's an old video. Yeah, I mean, what? Oh, yeah. Regardless, I mean, you guys get the idea. This is a completely different sentiment here. You know, again, that's different than like streaming the body, which is what Erica did. It's just.
Few will forget Jacqueline Kennedy this day. Transfigured by sorrow, she stands erect before the world's gaze and makes of her public ordeal an enduring testament of proud devotion. Now, through all the chill hours until the rotunda doors must close tomorrow, the unnamed mourners come, for there has been a death in the family.
Yeah, just thank you for joining the membership. So in the aftermath, Jackie Kennedy's initial mourning was marked by stoic public composure contrasted with private devastation. After JFK's assassination in Dallas, Jackie remained in her blood-stained pink Chanel suit, refusing to change, saying, "Let them see what they have done." She accompanied his body on Air Force One, standing beside Lyndon B. Johnson during his swearing-in in a public act of duty amid personal trauma. From November 22nd to 25th, she meticulously planned JFK's funeral, drawing inspection from Abraham Lincoln's 1865 funeral to ensure a dignified historic farewell. She chose the Caisson Eternal Flame at the Arlington National Cemetery and other elements channeling grief into legacy building. She walked in the funeral procession on November 25th, holding her children's hands, projecting strength despite private anguish. Private grief. In private, Jackie was shattered. Manchester notes she suffered nightmares, replaying the assassination and struggling with suicidal thoughts, confiding to friends like Theodore White that she felt bitter about losing JFK. She chain-smoked and drank heavy in those days, leaning on family for support. Jackie's mourning evolved into a balance of public restraint and private struggle. She had limited public appearances. She made a few public appearances, such as honoring Secret Service agent Clint Hill in the late 1963, and a Democratic National Committee event in August of 1964. These were emotionally taxing, and she withdrew after media leaks about her Warren Commission testimony, setting emotional strain. Her focus was protecting her children, Caroline and John Jr., from publicity. Private struggles. Jackie's grief was profound. She told historian William Manchester she felt robbed of her life with JFK and struggled with faith, questioning why God allowed the tragedy. She sought solace in private conversations with priests, friends, revealing depression and guilt over not saving JFK. She moved to Georgetown in December of 1963, seeking normalcy, but was hounded by the media. Legacy preservation. Jackie shaped JFK's legacy by granting a 1963 interview to Theodore White, coining the Camelot myth to romanticize his presidency. This was a mourning act, ensuring JFK's memory endured as heroic, not tragic. She also participated in a sealed oral history reflecting on her life together. Over the years, Jackie's mourning became more private, with occasional public nods to JFK's memory. She did remarry, but it was a private. After marrying Aristotle Onassis. Oh, this was actually, she did marry her sister's ex. That was very spicy. She did. Women are women. Do you know what I mean? Jackie largely withdrew from public life, focusing on her children and privacy. Her 1971 private White House visit for JFK's portrait unveiling was a rare acknowledgement of her past. She avoided discussions of JFK, declining interviews about their White House years. So, I mean, it says until her death in 1994, Jackie maintained a private mourning style focusing on her children's well-being. Her companion noted she carried JFK's memory privately, avoiding public displays of grief. Because again, Jackie's point was did not want to make it about her. And she cared about the kids. Now, I'm not saying that maybe Erica has different intentions, but her actions are just very strange to me. Now, we're next going to talk about why this happens. This is not to ascribe morality to it, but explain why one widow seems sad and another seems fine. An alpha widow is a woman who's been imprinted by a high-value man. Think a guy with dominance, charisma, emotional unpredictability, and raw sexual pull. The guy, the alpha in her past, sets a benchmark that lingers like a ghost in her psyche. He's the one that got away, whether that be through a breakup, death, or just a fading memory. Her husband, the guy she ended up with, often doesn't measure up to that peak experience. So when he dies, her emotions are a mixed bag, not just with grief, but a weird cocktail of relief, detachment, or even indifference. Even if the marriage was a slow bleed, losing a husband means losing stability, financial, social, or just the rhythm of daily life. She seems to be mourning the role he played, not necessarily the man himself. If he was the provider type, steady, reliable, but lacking that spark, she might cry for the security, the shared history, or the kids' sake. Society got her on a leash to perform the grieving widow act, and she might lean into it consciously or not. Plus, there's guilt. She knows she's supposed to be devastated. So she might fake it to save face or dodge judgment. So this is about widows in general, but I think it could potentially apply to this. If her husband wasn't that guy, the one who lit her up like the alpha did, she's been living with a quiet resentment maybe for years. Women's instinct to seek the best possible mate. Her heart still tethered to the memory of a man who owned the room, who made her feel alive in a way her husband never could. When the husband died, it's not just good riddance, though it can be if the marriage was toxic. It's more like nothing, emotional flatline. She's not sad because she's already checked out emotionally a long time ago, chasing the shadow of that alpha. His death might even feel like a freedom, a chance to pursue that spark again, even if she's not consciously plotting it. Women's hypergamous wiring makes them compare men to their highest value experience. An alpha widow's husband was likely a compromise, maybe a great provider or a good guy, but not the guy who made her pulse race. Over time, that gap festers. She might have stayed for the duty, the kids, or the social optic, but her emotional investment was low. Death just cuts the last thread. There are women who mourn publicly but privately feel unshackled, even if they're ashamed to admit it. It's not cold-blooded, it's human nature clashing with modern expectations. An alpha widow isn't just a one-dimensional ice queen. She might go between sadness and relief, torn by the guilt of not feeling enough. If the alpha who shared her is dead, she might project that unresolved longing onto her husband's memory, complicating her grief. Or if the alpha is still out there, she might fantasize about reconnecting, making her husband's death kind of a strange opportunity. Women don't owe anybody eternal devotion, especially if the marriage was a pragmatic deal, not a passionate one. Men need to understand this to avoid becoming the beta husband who gets outshined. Maintain your frame, your confidence, your edge, and your ability to keep her on her toes. If you're dealing with an alpha widow, don't try to out-alpha her past. It's a losing game. Instead, build your own value, physical, emotional, social, and let her see you as the new benchmark. So I just thought that was an interesting article that kind of talks about why the widows mourn in different ways.